I wanted to tell a story of a time when I was just a kid. I was 10 years old and I was living in rural Pennsylvania with my parents. And my mom had raised us pretty healthy. They were gardening and growing organic vegetables in the garden. And I think my mom was on a little bit of a raw food kick back then. Even so, I was raised really healthy. And, I started school and I was a little bit different than most of the kids, and I didn't really relate to a lot of the kids and what their lifestyle was like. And they would talk about going to McDonald's and watching TV and shows and movies and things. And this was in the 70s. I didn't have shows, movies, or McDonald's, so I felt really out of place in school. And I reached a point where I demanded that my mom take me to McDonald's so I had some way to relate to the kids in my class. And I must have been, 8, 9, 10. I don't remember exactly, but my mom agreed to take me to McDonald's. So the first time I ever tried McDonald's, I remember it vividly. We got there, I had a hamburger, fries, and a shake, right? And we finished our meal and got in the car, and I got in the back seat to go home, and I threw up all over the back seat. Completely, like, lost it all right there on the floor of the car. All came up. My body completely rejected it. And it was a great blessing because it really, from that day forward, I mean, at 10 years old, I knew fast food was toxic. I knew my body rejected that fast food. The wisdom of my little innocent, pure, healthy body told me that that wasn't even food. That wasn't even acceptable to put in my body. It didn't even want anything to do with it. So that was a really profound moment for me. And, I had a time in my mid 20s when I was alone and single. My girlfriend of 5 years had broken up with me, and I was living by myself in the cabin apartment that we had together. I was pretty depressed. I was going through some grief at that time in my life, my early 20s, and I was working a graveyard shift. And I started to get in the habit in this very low self esteem place, really a lot of self worth issues going on. I got in this place where I was starting to have fast food at night. It was easy. The Taco Bell was open. On my way home from my graveyard shift job, I would stop and get this Taco Bell food. And it was just a period of time when I was doing this. And I got, that was one of the lowest points in my life. I was so depressed. I was so down and out. I was watching more television than ever, eating fast food every single day. I was so depressed that I wouldn't even throw the garbage away. I would pile up the cartons and the boxes and the plastic bags from Taco Bell on my bed. I'd sit in my bed and eat this Taco Bell, and I wouldn't even throw the garbage away. I was so depressed. It was one of the lowest points of my life. And again, fast food was a part of that. Which comes first, the depression, the anxiety, the debilitating grief, or the fast food feeding into that, creating a lower vibration, a lower state of consciousness that allowed me to really stew in that and stay in that for 2 years. 2 years I was in that depressive grief, and I think eating fast food, maybe not for the entire 2 years, but for a good period of time. Long story short, I got sick from that. I got sick from that time in my life. I got so sick. I got these like stomach ulcers, and I had so many health problems that I actually went to the doctor, and the doctor prescribed me this cocktail of antibiotics, which I took, unwittingly in my early 20s. It was one of the worst things I've ever done in my life, was take those antibiotics. I've actually tried to recoup my body and recover my body from those round of antibiotic cocktails I took at that time. Ever since then, that was a real turning point in my life and my health, for the worse. And I've had, to be diligent in my health ever since then to recover. And fast food, Taco Bell, was one of the debilitating factors that brought me down to that extreme low. So, two examples in my life how fast food have basically poisoned me, ruined my life, ruined my health, ruined my consciousness, ruined my state of mind, ruined my outlook on the world, created depression, created self-loathing. So I just wanted to talk about how fast food is from my perspective now, fast food is an unacceptable state of existence for humanity. The fact that humanity is participating with fast food on any level indicates that there's a severe psychological problem going on inside of the psyche of humanity. We have extreme self-worth issues going on. We have extreme self-loathing and acts of self-violence by consuming these types of foods, these poisons filled with pesticides, filled with chemicals, filled with the GMOs, glyphosate and Roundup, and so much toxicity goes into that, not to mention the quality of those meats. And dairy, those are the factory farms. Those are the worst of the worst factory farms from around the world producing that meat and dairy. So much pain, so much suffering, the pus, the hormones, the despair those animals live their entire lives in, unimaginable, unlivable conditions, slaughtered for the mass consumption of these fast food joints. KFC and McDonald's, Taco Bell, Burger King are mass offenders to humanity. They should be held accountable for crimes against humanity. And the fact that people are uneducated enough to participate with those, I dare even call them restaurants, with those businesses of exploitation and profit, is an unimaginable act of violence against oneself and an act of violence against all consciousness on planet Earth. That's how I feel about fast food. I feel that it's an unacceptable state. We all need to take responsibility and not participate with that. And we need to eradicate it from planet Earth. We actually need to eradicate even the existence of that type of junk food. And not only fast food, but I think that junk food, all the food that lines the inner aisles of major grocery stores, mainstream grocery stores. In our area, we have Safeways and Lucky's in Northern California. I would say that everything that lines Doritos and sodas and canned food and frozen food is similar low consciousness vibration, filled with pesticides, filled with Roundup, filled with suffering, with factory farmed meat and dairy on the most unimaginable levels. It shows that humanity has not taken responsibility for who we are, our traumas. As my daughter just popped in, our traumas, our self-worth. Humanity, we're basically like wounded children that feel unworthy of having love. We're wounded children that feel unworthy of having our needs met, and we basically are tantruming. It's like a tantruming level to participate with food like that poisons our earth, poisons our body, poisons our consciousness, poisons all the other sentient beings on this planet. It's time for us to wake up and take responsibility for who we are and for ourselves. And the first step we can do, and what I do, is stop participating with that level of junk food. That's step one. A step two would be to actually start to eat healthy food that, even if you're not growing your own healthy food in your garden, you can still buy organic fruits and vegetables. Even if you can't afford organic fruits and vegetables, you can still eat fruits and vegetables. Bananas are 69 cents a pound. Organic bananas are 69 cents a pound. Real, raw, living food to fuel our body with sunlight energy, electromagnetic energy, hormones, oxygen, enzymes, phytochemicals, electricity. That's how we heal humanity. That's how we heal ourselves. This junk food that lines the shelves of every grocery store across America and every strip mall corner across America is a crime against humanity. It's a disaster of our consciousness. It's a disaster of our suffering and our self-worth, and we need to take responsibility for it immensely, and right now. That's my call to action. Take responsibility and start today. Give up fast food, get it out of your life, and take responsibility. Thanks for listening. And if you like what I'm saying in this video, consider giving it a like or a thumbs up and comment. Tell me what you think.